When it comes to emergency alerting in your community, the standard procedure in the province right now is the police and fire going to the door, and some communities have emergency alerting systems, and all communities will make use of the media. So it's important that you go to your local emergency responders or emergency coordinators and let them know what your special needs may be, and also determine how you will be alerted in case of an emergency. And on a national scale, the Weather Channel is also providing alerting services, especially for severe weather.
When we work with seniors in building these workshops, something that we do is help them to develop their own plan. Each of us has our own plan because each of our lives is different. And another part of it is that we encourage them to discover or make a network of friends and neighbors who might be available to help you if you are in a time of need. And that's part of the plan in our workshops.
That makes sense. I can think of some people who would help us. I just have to arrange with them and teach them what we need.
You might help them too, you know, by they might have need of somebody in their time of emergency, and you could be their helper as well as they helping you.
Yeah, thank you. That's a great idea.
When it comes to personal supports, they're very important in the first 72 hours of an emergency. If that's the person or the persons that you have come to rely on to assist you, then you definitely need to have them available to help you and to provide whatever care it is that you require so that you can carry on living as normal a life as possible, even during an emergency situation.
Thank you guys for being my support network. So now I want to talk about what each of your roles will be if there is an emergency or a disaster, so that we know what to do before it happens, okay?
But certainly there has been some success stories where we've had a blizzard and people call upon each other. So we know for a fact in 1986 we had a blizzard in Winnipeg that was pretty sustained and pretty long, and we had thousands upon thousands of phone calls where people were needing things. That people needed baby formula, they needed food, they needed medications. Meals on Wheels needed support. But we know that we've had recent blizzards where the call volume is much less. So we know that there is success with people phoning their support networks. We just need to develop them to a greater extent.
Okay, so if you need to get out of Winnipeg, then I'll pick you up, whatever you need. Okay, so if there's an emergency, then you'll pick me up and get me out of Winnipeg. So where will we go? Where's a good safe place? Oh, you can come to my place. You can stay at my place. Really? I can come to your place? That's a good idea. Yeah, and I'll check on you too. I've got my BlackBerry, so if there's an emergency, anything going on, then I can be in touch with you through my BlackBerry. I can send you a message. Okay, yeah, I've got my BlackBerry too, and then I'll just answer you. Okay, yeah, that should work out good. Okay, well, I think then we're all ready. Yeah, that's good.
The Disabilities Issues Office was established to promote long-term policy change in favor of people with disabilities. It's also mandated to work in liaison between the disability community and the government. And in doing so, we try to point out any gaps in service, anything that should be adjusted so that we ensure that people with disabilities in Manitoba are fully and equally included in all of our plans. When we heard about how people with disabilities were affected by Hurricane Katrina, what large numbers of people with disabilities and seniors fell victim and died as a result of that hurricane, it got us asking a question about Manitoba. We know we don't have hurricanes, but the floods are quite frequent. The fires in the north are frequent. The possibility of rail derailment is very real. And our bitterly cold winter challenges us every single year. So we decided to bring together all these experts in emergency management and all the experts that we knew in disability organizations in Manitoba, and to hold a one-day forum so that we could exchange expertise among the people present and between these two very different groups, one being emergency managers and the other being people with disabilities. The very big outcome of that meeting that day, besides really dynamic conversation, was the decision that we would create the Disability Emergency Management Network. It's a community-level organization. There's a steering committee. The Disabilities Issues Office is still involved because of our particular interests. But other than the DIO, all the steering committee members are organizations representing people with disabilities. The broader network involves both organizations of people with disabilities as well as other stakeholders. We wanted to make sure that as many people are involved in this network as possible. Two of our main goals are simply to train organizations of people with disabilities and their memberships to be more prepared in time of disaster, and to train emergency management to be more inclusive of people with disabilities and their needs, including through this video. And the other challenge really is to get the word out, and hence the networking aspect is so very important.
I think what helps people in a community to be able to do well is that sense that there was strong linkages established in advance of the disaster. So where a community is already connecting with one another, they know who's who in the zoo, as it were. They've worked together, they have a sense of trust and respect, and they know that each other has needs that maybe one another, they maybe even have mutual agreements set up in fact in advance. That is going to help in the time of a disaster to smooth the way for not only a positive disaster response, but also an understanding of what each other's needs are so that recovery can happen quicker.